You ever open a spreadsheet and your eyes just start scanning numbers, hoping something important stands out? Excel can actually do that work for you. Conditional formatting lets Excel highlight patterns and important information automatically. Instead of searching through a spreadsheet yourself, Excel can visually show you things like the highest values, duplicates, or missing information. Let's set sail. Let's take a look at this list of grocery spending, and we want to find the trips that cost the most. And as we look at it, nothing really stands out. And now the pattern jumps out immediately. With just a few clicks, conditional formatting helps Excel show us patterns visually, and in this case, the top 3 grocery trips by cost. Let me show you how that works. First, I'm going to undo, and to add conditional formatting, the first thing we're going to do is select all of the items in the cost column, and then from the conditional formatting menu, top and bottom rules, we're going to click top 10 items. And it defaults to 10, but we are going to just choose 3, and we're going to change this to green fill with dark green text. And you can see it was just a few clicks, and now we can see the top 3 grocery trips. This is useful not just for grocery trips, but also if you want to highlight your highest monthly electric bills or your biggest monthly expenses. It's important to note that this conditional formatting only changes the appearance. It does not change the data. Sometimes you might want to make it easier to identify missing data. And in this sheet, we have a household inventory, but obviously there's some data that's missing. And we can use conditional formatting to help us find all of them quickly. So I'm going to select this entire table of data, conditional formatting, a new rule, format cells that contain, and I'm going to change format only cells with blanks. And I'm going to set a format. I am going to fill color with this light blue color and click OK a couple times. And now the cells that are blank are highlighted in blue and they're easy to find. Now, because I found them, if I type entry, as soon as I have data in there and it's not blank, the conditional formatting removes that blue highlight, so that is no longer flagged. You may also want to highlight duplicate entries in your data. And in this case, I want to check the items to see if I have any duplicate entries. So I select the column of data, highlight cell rules, and choose duplicate values. And again, I'm going to choose green fill. And you can see milk appears twice, and both of them are now highlighted. And now it's much easier to find the duplicates in the list. In addition to the quick rules we've seen, conditional formatting can also use formulas. Let's say we want to highlight all of the costs for these grocery trips that are greater than $50. The first thing we're going to do is select all of the costs, and under conditional formatting, choose new rule, and use a formula to determine which cells to format. We're going to say equals $D2 greater than 50. And this formula checks whether each value in the cost column meets this condition, is greater than 50. So we're going to format, and I am going to give them a background fill of this pinkish purple color. And click OK. And now we quickly identified all of the grocery trips that cost more than $50. Again, the formula does not change the spreadsheet, it just tells Excel when it should apply the formatting. Now we can also highlight all the entries from the current month. As I record this, it is March, so all of the rows that have a date of March should get highlighted. And we can do that with conditional formatting. I'm going to select all of the dates, conditional formatting, a new rule, and use a formula. And my formula is going to be equals month A2 equal month today. Looking a little deeper at this formula, It checks the month of each date and compares it to the current month. The month function pulls the month from the date, and the today function gives us today's date. So if the months match, Excel applies the formatting. And because it uses the today function, it updates automatically as the month changes. And then I'm going to select a color to format this. I'm just going to give it this green color and click OK a couple times. And you can see it highlighted all of the March dates in this grocery trip list. One last thing that I want to show you is that conditional formatting can apply to entire rows. So let's say we want to have a rule where we highlight the row where the cost is greater than 60. So we're going to highlight all of the data, and now we're going to create a rule. A new rule using a formula, and our formula is going to be equals $D2 greater than 60. We're using the $ on the D so that Excel locks to that column and it always checks the cost column. But the rows will change based on which row it's looking at. And I'm going to set the format again to be green. Click OK and OK. And now it's highlighted the entire row for all of the grocery trips that have a cost greater than 60. And by highlighting the entire row, it can make unusual values or things you want to point out a lot easier to notice. Conditional formatting works very well when you want to do things like highlight unusual values, or finding duplicates, finding missing information, or finding recent activity like our list of grocery trips for this month. You're using formatting to highlight exceptions or patterns. I added a few more rules to the same sheet to show something important. The goal isn't to decorate your spreadsheet. It's to make important information easier to notice. And as you can see here, when too much is highlighted, that clarity starts to disappear. Most of the time, 1 or 2 clear rules are all you need. What you want to think about when you're considering conditional formatting is asking yourself, what do I want to notice immediately? And if formatting will help answer that question, it's useful. And if it doesn't, it probably shouldn't be there. If you try this and something doesn't work the way you expect, I'll walk through some common issues in the next video. Until our next voyage, I wish you smooth sailing.